In London, Indian food is very popular. In all their deli section, in every grocery store, you get something called as chicken tikka sandwich. My kids love that sandwich. And I decided, why not create the same thing with tofu? Now, chicken tikka in India is usually enjoyed with naan or Indian breads. But in England, in London, they enjoyed it with bread slices. So I said, let me take a little spin-off from that recipe and make it with tofu. And tofu, what you get in the regular grocery store, I just put it in the freezer. And when you freeze it, the texture of tofu changes. So I have this tofu, which has got a little different texture, and I have just made cubes of it. And in this recipe, I'm going to be using yogurt and almonds to substitute cream. The original recipe calls for cream. I decided if I'm going to make a healthy recipe, let me see if I can give it a very rich taste without the added cream. So I found if I add yogurt and if I add almond powder or cashew powder or even walnut powder, whichever nuts that you like, and mix it together, it gives it a very rich, creamy taste. And here I have some cumin powder. Cumin seeds are right here. So ideally what I would suggest is take the cumin and have a little coffee grinder, which you use only for your spices, and make a little fresh powder of it. And the same goes with coriander seeds. And another spice which I'm using is cardamom pods. These have these little fragrant seeds in them. And tomato paste, red chili powder or chili flakes if you like. This is all optional about how much chili powder goes into this recipe. And let's start cooking. Now with this, I use some ginger and some garlic. And again, I heat little oil and going to add some fresh garlic and ginger. What this does, it takes off the raw taste of ginger and garlic. And in that, you have to add in very quick succession. I'm going to add some cumin powder, coriander powder, tomato paste, and if it's getting too hot, remove it from the stove because you don't want the spices to burn. Some red chili powder, and some almond powder, some yogurt, okay, now that is all mixed up, I'm going to put it back on the heat, add a little bit of water, so this is a very rich and creamy taste without the cream. Usually this recipe takes heavy cream, and need I say it tastes very good. So here it is. And two more spices that I add is the cardamom pods. I'm going to open it up and going to grind the seeds. Here you go. Just two is good enough. And you need to just crush it a little bit. When you crush it, it releases flavor. And to that, I add the chopped tofu. Cook it so that it just coats all the tofu. And if you make it the day before, it tastes good too. some salt. So this is a very simple one which you can easily make anytime. I like to make very small cubes, but if you want, you can make bigger chunks of it. And let it cook for about 5 minutes. So after about 5 minutes of cooking, this is what you get. Now there are different ways to enjoy this. One is you can eat it with tortilla, you can eat it with Indian bread, and let me share the one which I feel really tastes good. For this you need a yogurt-based salad. Typically in a sandwich you would put mayonnaise, but this yogurt-based salad is basically plain yogurt, and I like to use Greek yogurt because it's thicker. And to that I'm going to add some chopped cucumber, and also to give a very refreshing flavor I'm going to take some mint, fresh mint. And I have an interesting way of storing mint. I put it in a glass of water and put the stems and everything in it. It stays fresher that way, I feel. And with the mint, I just chop it fine. And some black pepper. Mint and black pepper is an excellent combination. There are some spices which really go well together. And some salt. And a tiny bit of sugar. So you mix this. And another very simple drink that I find is very soothing, the same salad. Put it in a blender with some milk. Makes excellent, excellent drink in a hot weather. Okay, so for the bread, I'm going to take a lettuce leaf. Put a little bit of this yogurt dressing with cucumber. So what happens is the yogurt soothes the very spicy taste of this tofu. And put another layer of the lettuce. Basically what happens is the lettuce prevents the tofu and the yogurt dressing to seep through and make the bread sandwich soggy. So here you have this wonderful sandwich with tofu and with cucumber and yogurt. And just in case if you are on a low-carb diet and you don't want the bread that goes with it, you take the Belgian endive and you just cut it off a little bit so you get these leaves off, and go ahead and serve it such. It's interesting as an appetizer too. So here is a sandwich which I enjoyed creating something of tofu and making it tasty. When I was in London, I enjoyed the rich food, and I always felt it was a minute on your lips and a lifetime on your hips. But this recipe, I assure you, it's not going to be a lifetime on your hips, but you're going to enjoy it every time you eat it.